Career Education Corporation is one of the leading corporations. It's an umbrella under which many for-profit colleges exist. Recently, they have agreed to a settlement with the state of New York, and that settlement is the largest settlement a for-profit college has ever paid. It's $10 million. The reason why they did that is because they were being sued by the the Attorney General in New York for misleading recruiting practices. They were basically telling students that the job placement was much higher than it really was. In fact, the settlement claims that the company advertised job placement rates of 55% to 80% at its schools in New York, when the placement rates were actually 24% to 64%. So what would happen was that students would go in, they would be told, oh, you're gonna graduate, and look at this, we place you in a great job, you're gonna make great money, it's gonna be awesome, right? They were lying. So the students would take out the student loan debt thinking, hey, I'm getting a quality education. Oftentimes they would get an education in something that wouldn't even allow them to go get testing for licensing in the field that they wanted to be in, and then they were stuck. They wouldn't get a job. And you wanna know what they considered gainful employment? If someone went to a career fair that lasted one day.
Okay. Check. We're done with you.
Yeah. So I love that the state of New York went after them. They have admitted no wrongdoing. Remember, they were not found guilty. They decided to settle. But again, that settlement was about $10 million, $9.5 million of which will go to a fund to reimburse students. So I love that.
Okay, so let's think about that for a second. They did this in so many different states, but only New York went after them. And it turns out that if you actually go after people who are committing fraud or ripping off students, etc., that you can get people their money back. Wow, a novel idea, actually standing up for the citizens you're supposed to represent. Great credit to Eric Schneiderman in this case, the Attorney General. Now, he was the guy fighting the banks in the first place, got co-opted a little bit by the Obama administration. I think he realizes that was a mistake, right, in that category. But here he is in a different category. Again, this is the proud tradition of Ellie Spitzer, who was the Attorney General in New York, who would go after these guys to make sure that they were actually delivering for consumers. In this case, $9.25 million going back to the students. How great is that? That's terrific. More states should do it.
I love it, and I wish that there was like some sort of federal legislation that would make sure that these types of unlawful practices did not continue. Because remember, the Obama administration was pushing for gainful employment, and these were very strict standards that would ensure that these for-profit colleges would have to prove gainful employment of their students. But of course, the for-profit lobby got in there, and they ended up passing a very watered-down version of that. So I don't like these abuses, especially toward our veterans, because a lot of veterans get targeted by these for-profit colleges because they have federal money that they can spend on education. So,
one super last thing there. Look, the federal government in this case has tremendous leverage. So New York is using whatever leverage they can, and look at the results they get, right? In federal level, these for-profit colleges, the whole scam is to get federal money. If they cut off the federal money, they're done for, right? Because 90% of the revenue comes from federal loans to these students. And so the idea is you lure the students in, you're like, oh yeah, come on man, I got great jobs for you, oh yeah, it's gonna be terrific. The thing that drove me crazy in one part that they lied to the kids about, it's one thing to say, hey listen, I'm kinda gonna get you a job, psych, I didn't get you a job. It's another thing that they would say, oh, you're gonna be licensed for this field and then you will be able to work in that field once you graduate. It turns out they were lying about that.
Yep.
In some of the fields, you weren't licensed at all, and they'd go out and they'd be like, okay, I'm gonna get a job. And they're like, no, you're not, you don't have the license. They're like, what? I just spent all this money and time at the school. They're like, yeah, they robbed you. Okay, that's unbelievable. So at the federal level, if all you have to do is say, oh, if you do that licensing trick, as an example, you're done for. You don't get any more federal money. Do you have any idea how quickly they'd fix that? Okay, but the money they got from the federal government in loans, they then turn around and use to buy the same federal politicians in our legalized corruption, who then let them get away with it.